believe me if I told you the show with the theme song that goes, "She's the girl next door," isn't even about a girl who lives next door.
What?
准备有这边的手，阿爷，阿爷。
Happy autumnal season, butt lovers. Welcome back to Camper Cringe, Lore's edgier cousin. We have not done one of these in a while. In my Lore series, I look way too deep at kid shows. Here, I look at shows intended for tweens and teens and see if they're camp, or cringe, or both, or neither. Today's victim. My babysitter's a vampire. My last Halloween Camper Cringe was for Finding Carter, which has a much different vibe, but is still very fun. How's it going? I'm Rory, the silly little kidnapper, and you're watching Disney Channel. The My Babysitter's A Vampire series is comprised of one pilot movie and 2 seasons. Just like with a lot of my other camper cringes, I was convinced I have never seen even a scene from this show. I was mistaken.
Freaking vampire!
We have this gorgeous shot of rain spattering on the car window. A crash of thunder is heard. A Halloweeny shot, to be sure. Bella and Edward, pale as the full moon. "I love you," she says. Aww. "Didn't ask, don't care," he responds. No, just kidding, it's even weirder. Huh? He announces that he's not human, but she doesn't care. Don't make me tap on my shipping video where I talk about how interspecies fictional relationships are okay sometimes, actually. Turns out it super doesn't matter, because it's just the movie in the movie. Wait, aren't you a little young to be watching that? The young girl wearing bunny slippers named Jane asks her brother and her brother's friend if they hear that mysterious noise coming from outside, but they're too busy doing the Chubby Bunny Challenge! The girl who I thought was 6, turns out she's 8, still way too young, goes outside to investigate. And it's a redheaded teenager that bullies her.
Teachers have souls!
Just not this one. Instant karma as a mysterious force takes him to the great beyond. After the bully's shoe fell from the sky, she screams and her parents come home. From, I wanna say, bowling? Cut to the title sequence and everyone is watching the movie from the beginning, called Dusk. And they really went full out on this Twilight parody. I wish they did this with every extremely popular teen movie. In 2015, they should have made a show called My Babysitter's from District 12. I know what you are. Say it out loud. A poor baker who will threaten to poison himself to death on national TV with his PR girlfriend. You got that right, bestie. Peanut! The intro sequence introduces us to the bop that is, "She's the girl next door." And now I need to jam out, and there's no better way than with this video sponsor, Raycon earbuds. The fact of the matter is, and you guys already know this, I jam out when listening to music, and usually with other earbuds, they just fall out. So these are my everyday earbuds because I can absolutely thrash with these in my ears. Right, jamming out, Athena? What? You see, jamming out, Athena uses active noise cancellation. This is what you're gonna want to use on all those flights with the crying babies. But there's also awareness mode, so you can still be aware of the world around you. Like the name says. They are sweat-proof, which I really need, especially when I'm dancing. My family calls me the soggy gyro for a reason. Another thing I hate about other earbuds is they die so quickly. But 10 minutes of charging yields 90 minutes of listening. I honestly barely charge these babies. Look at the cover I have on mine. It makes me want to listen to relaxing ocean noises, which I can do with my Raycon earbuds that they charge in this nifty little case. Like I said, I barely had to use this because these babies last forever. But when I do, look at what I met with. Everyone say ooh. Everyone say ah. Go to buyraycon.com/AthenaP where you can get 20% to 50% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 50% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/AthenaP. Thank you so much to Raycon for supporting this channel. I really appreciate you and your fantastic product that I once again use every day. The name Everyday Earbuds is no joke. Now back to My Babysitter's A Vampire. For the record, I went into this knowing nothing about the show, so I thought that little girl was gonna be one of the main characters, but she's just there to complain and blackmail her older brother for cash.
Pep.
Say it with me. Girl boss. As Ethan started complaining that his own incompetence led his parents to getting a babysitter, I noticed that from this specific angle, he was starting to look Winona Ryder-ish. And that's when I knew. This is the same bitch from Gooby, isn't it? Can you imagine if Gooby was the babysitter?
Oh, Christ almighty, it's a full moon. I got to hang upside down like a bat.
Ethan told his friend Benny that the babysitter is going to be a girl from their school. Now, admittedly, that's pretty brutal of the parents. They easily could have found somebody that doesn't go to the same high school as their son. Principal Hicks is hanging up missing person posters around the school, making the learning environment feel like a very safe and comfortable place for the kids. But anyway, the principal clearly gets possessed by Jesse, this teen boy in a trench coat. But how long has he been a teen in a trench coat? Jesse is not even attempting to hide his creepiness. Ethan accidentally knocked Sarah's lunch tray all over her.
Dork!
But that's just the beginning of Sarah's problems because her best friend Erica is a handful. Sarah gives Erica vague answers as to why they haven't hung out in a while, especially with the premiere of Dusk 3 Unbitten coming out soon. And this is the one where we're gonna find out if he bit her or not. If my friend told me they were going through something, I would back off. But in Erica's defense, she's a high schooler. In high school, if you don't talk to your friend for over an hour, you're dead to them. Speaking of dead, Benny very casually reveals that they found the remains of the redhead.
Looks like they found the rest of that missing senior. The rest? Yeah, it says here he was all shriveled up. You know, I like this juice box.
Wild description. I wonder if that's how the police described him too. At the scene of the crime right now, Jason smells like shit, probably due to being dead, so I sprayed him all over with Axe body spray because I knew that's what he would have wanted. Sarah and her creepy ex-boyfriend Jesse get into a fight, Erica swoons over one of Jesse's friends, and then the very obvious boy vampires that they just keep calling the drama club try to run over Ethan and Benny. I wonder if the high schoolers who tried to do a hit and run in broad daylight had anything to do with the murder. Just call me Sherlock, because I want to go homes. Ethan's parents always seem to go on cute dates. They're very much in love, and I love to see it. Ethan hides in his room to avoid his babysitter, and this video call with Benny makes his friend look like some kind of hacker spy, but they're just having a casual conversation. Although at this point in the story, I really thought that would be foreshadowing. Benny even had these weird spy goggles, so I thought he'd be the techie sidekick. I thought maybe all his pervy spy gear will come in handy later.
That is one babe-tastic tower of Babylon.
Benny having a crush on Erica makes a lot of sense because both of them are annoying as fuck. Sarah is going through it because when she calls Dusk just a movie, Erica freaks out at her.
Just a movie?
I can't stand Erica, but again, in high school, I would have pulled the same bitch move over Big Time Rush, which is admittedly even more embarrassing. But it gets worse. After Erica gets attention from this one guy, she decides not to show up to her babysitting job. Sarah tries warning Erica not to go with the boys, but Erica does not care. She does not heed this advice from one of her oldest friends, because they haven't hung out in 3 whole days. Erica, he's trying to eat you. Girl, I know, shut up. You're ruining the moment. We see Jesse's vampire teeth and Sarah slaps him. They get into this big fight that ends with Jesse throwing Sarah onto Ethan's roof. This level of violence between high school exes would have been disturbing if they didn't add this sound effect. Despite this cartoonish Smash Bros being knocked off the map sound effect, Sarah is genuinely frightened, and she pretends to be the babysitter Erica was supposed to be, so she can hide in Ethan's house. Benny and Ethan are incredibly awkward and don't know how to read the room, discussing how attractive Sarah is. Meanwhile, Sarah is sobbing in the bathroom, pleading to her friend over the phone not to trust the drama boys. Girl, I've been there. No one can resist a tenor. Ethan notices Sarah's reflection start to fade away in the mirror behind her, and when he puts his hand on her, he has a That's So Raven-like vision. After Sarah runs away, the boys go to look for her. And when they use the spy gear that I totally thought would come in handy more than just this one time, they see her eating a mouse.
Jesus Christ.
I can't believe they put this on Disney, dude. Get your hands off me, you bitch! Also, I'm so used to teenage boys being deterred by nothing that I was genuinely surprised that they ran away. Ethan even screamed.
Help! My babysitter's a vampire!
He said the title! He said it! Sarah caught up to them with her supernatural speed and explains that she's actually a fledgling because she hasn't eaten human blood yet, and she doesn't want to. So the title is a lie. My babysitter's a fledgling just doesn't roll off the tongue in the same way, though. They defeat another vampire with garlic pizza. Classic. I'm gonna sprinkle in a little bit of vampire lore. Did you know that garlic deters mosquitoes? And that's one of the theories about how this vampire fact came to be. Now they have to save Sarah's friend Erica and Ethan and Benny's other friend Rory because they're both at a vampire party. Erica, as usual, won't listen to Sarah, and Benny and Ethan are being useless. They're just dancing as their friend is in the process of being killed. How did they describe it earlier? Sucked dry like a juice box? Ew, no, that couldn't have been it. Turns out Rory was already bitten, and so is Erica, and Erica is just way too eager to eat blood. This whole time, Sarah went in harm's way to save her friend, and her friend did not want to be saved. Erica does not have the same moral qualms that Sarah has. It feels like Erica is only doing this for rebellion's sake. Erica sucks. Literally. So conveniently, in Benny's grandma's car that they stole, there's his grandma's tanning bed. They use these as lightsabers against the vampires. This next part is when we really get to see the vampire's motivation and the stakes. Rory is a vampire now. He drank blood because everyone else was. Drug symbolism. This becomes even more on the nose later on when Ethan's mom says,
You do know that if you ever touch drugs, that your father and I will have to kill you.
but it turns out damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if Sarah doesn't drink human blood in 28 days, she's gonna die. Rory offers them information about the vampire ritual, and Ethan, Benny, and Sarah even spy on all the vampires at a cemetery, digging up this box. Through the power of reading and being possessed by visions, they discover that Jesse the vampire leader was also a cult leader from 1805.
You're old.
Named Horace Black. He killed many people, and when he and his followers were burnt in the church, they rebranded the town's name. They went from Black's Church to Whitechapel. I understand his last name is Black, and that's why they wanted to separate themselves from the original name, but why didn't they just come up with something new? This is a bit, don't sue me. 20 people were killed at Red Robin. We gotta think of a new name. How about Blue Sparrow? How about I kick your ass for even suggesting that? Erica walks into the school slow motion with the mind-blowing makeover of no glasses, red lipstick, and a very 2000s waist belt. She makes out with Sarah's ex, Jesse, and laughs about how Sarah is going to die soon. Because of all the clues they've gathered, Ethan realizes that all the vampires are going to try to kill people at the Dusk 3 premiere.
An angel's nest shall see the earth.
That's it. Tonight is lunar eclipse.
I didn't need to decode all this shit to tell you that. It seemed pretty obvious. Anyway, training montage. They're using holy water and stakes. Turns out Benny's grandma, the one who's been doing all the actual babysitting this whole time, also knows about vampires and how to hunt them. She gives them knives and some spells. I loved this detail because I thought the tanning bed in the back of the car was way too convenient and it was really bothering me. But no, that was a weapon she left for them. On top of that, I just love an old mentor. If I were to make my own vampire movie, I'd make the old priestess say, "Now when all else fails, you gotta give him the old dick twist." But instead, this PG high priestess granny makes this kid's picture dance and spells out what each of their roles are. Benny, who once again I thought would be the spy guy, is actually the spells master. If he didn't remind me of Jake T. Austin before, he certainly does now. And Ethan is the seer. How though? Is it genetic or just brought on through circumstances? He already asked his mom earlier in the movie if she ever had visions, and she gave him that don't do drugs talk and didn't follow that up with the psychiatrist. So maybe Ethan's dad was also a seer? They never tell us. Benny has enough time during this big bad fight to make out with this random girl. His one motivation is getting with girls. This is the closest he gets. Kid is the typical best friend character. He can't take anything seriously. The grandma and Jane are actually the ones to defeat Jesse in the end. They zap him with the spell, and the box of souls attacks Jesse. Here in my script, I wrote, "He's super dead, I think." You look like a fool. They pick up at school the next day. Sarah isn't dying anymore because the high priestess granny made her a blood substitute. Weak explanation. Also, Erica is still alive after she tried attacking Sarah, completely unprovoked. I don't know, it was just a bit anticlimactic. So good thing there's 2 more seasons of this. Surely that'll be enough time to wrap everything up and not leave me with more questions.
1.
So this is clearly a different school, right? They painted these lockers rainbow to distract from the murders, and it worked! And now Benny is an expert at magic. You expect me to watch him making these flowers appear and not use this clip for the 3rd week in a row? He gives off "wanna see me do a trick" vibes. The first bit of magical hijinks starts when Benny wants to bring his new crush's dog back from the dead.
Awesome news. Della's dog died.
Oh, cool, he got worse. Erica and Sarah are on good terms despite Erica still being awful and eating people.
My food's here. Call me when you're ready.
Am I watching Jennifer's Body Jr.? Benny then brings the dog back from the dead, and yep. I remember seeing that on Disney Channel. That is why I never watched this series. That freaked me the fuck out. And because they poured this potion into the dirt, there are many possessed creatures attacking everyone. They are all taken down by holy water. Episode 2 really leaned into this brief line we got from the movie.
My whole life, I have been pushed around, bullied, laughed at.
Yup, Erica was bullied, and that's why she's homicidal. But instead of just saying it out of nowhere like in the movie, we saw flashbacks of the head cheerleader Stephanie stomping on her glasses. What's really interesting is that in the last episode, Sarah did nothing to save the boys from Erica's hunting, but now she feels like she has to save the cheerleaders. Sarah, I know what you are. Say it out loud. Gay. This whole episode is riddled with Benny and Ethan being creeps to the cheerleaders. Even after they realized Stephanie was a witch that's trying to take them all down, they remained in their cheerleader disguise and did nothing to stop her as they slow motion pillow fought. Little did they know Stephanie was actually an old-ass lady that the grandma had to turn back to normal.
Poor Stephanie. I remember how mean folks were to you back then. What I forgot was just how much you deserved it.
Okay, but why doesn't anybody say the exact same thing to Erica? I'll get into the whole Rory's girlfriend was actually Benny and drag plot later. Episode 3, they have to stop Rory, Erica, and the blood drive nurse vampires from eating blood. It ended with them exchanging some of Ethan's blood, which is very rare.
1 in a million. A single pint is worth more than everything in that truck.
This feeds into my theory that his abilities are genetic. In episode 4, Jane uses a repair spell to fix her doll, but she accidentally turns it into Katy Perry. No! It's a woman's world. We're sexy and smart, and you may not know this, but we also fart. I hate you, Katy Perry. In episode 8, they have a parody of getting rickrolled, and it even saved the day against this sentient computer tree. Raycon would never, but there's a scene where they take out an earbud and it's like a vine coming out. The effects were as dated as the Rickroll reference, but the monster was genuinely cool and unnerving, and I wish we learned more about it. Episode 9, they try to cure David the werewolf, but instead they shit the bed in every way possible. Ethan jumps in front of David the werewolf football player for some reason, and then Ethan gets bit, turning him into a werewolf. So they have to use the cure to save Ethan and not David. David is not even a threat, actually. They were all just mean to him for no reason. I mean, on the bright side, we got to see the huge rivalry between vampires and werewolves, but I think that was also just a parody Twilight. On top of all that, much like the tree monster, the origin of David turning into a werewolf is never explored. He is a one-off character, we never see him again. He probably died. While the episode format remains the same, creatures introduced and then creatures dealt with, they begin to show us how these creatures came to be. Like in episode 11, the teachers start turning into zombies because of chemicals in the coffee. Having it only target adults through caffeine dependency is pretty smart. It's also pretty ironic that they drink coffee to not be zombies, only to turn into zombies because of the coffee. The way they defeat them is through air conditioning, so it's just cooling down the coffee. You're telling me the chemicals wouldn't have affected them if they just ordered iced coffee? The episodes from season 1 I didn't discuss will be mentioned in future sections. But for now, let's jump to the season finale. The box of spirits from the movie pops up again, because even though Ethan told Benny to hide it in a place where they will never see it again, Benny just put the box of spirits in Ethan's closet. They are allergic to being serious. I see now why the main characters had to be teenagers. Half of their wacky adventures wouldn't have even happened if they just finished what they started. I wish Grandma kept a closer eye on them. Why do you trust teen boys with world-ending shit? Jesse, our very first villain, is back. And this changes everything we learned about vampires. First of all, in this episode, Erica was possessed by Jesse. Otherwise, she'd never turn on her friend. And as much as I just wanted to say, oh, Erica was also possessed in the movie, her eyes never glowed like this in the movie. Where was this in the movie? I'm also tired of pretending Erica is mean in a tolerable way. She talks about killing a panda this episode. Also, Jesse bites Ethan, but Sarah saves him by sucking the vampire venom out of his blood. Pardon? Venom? Sarah is now fully a vampire, so the title is not lying to us anymore. I'm just surprised it took up until now. Sarah disappeared briefly after the events of last season's finale, and now she has anger issues. Littering and throwing the new vice principal into the trash. Ever since turning into a vampire, she has uncontrollable urges. Is this supposed to represent puberty? Despite the changes, she's still loyal to her friends, having to stand up for them against the Vampire Council. The council thinks Ethan is killing vampires when it's really this stinky fart cloud. They capture it, prove their innocence to the boss baby vampire, but don't figure out who conjured the fart in the first place. And there's no whoever smelt it, dealt it twist. Ethan isn't killing vampires in his sleep, although that would have been pretty cool. They tease an overarching plot as they ponder who could be after the vampires. Continuity is something season 1 couldn't have dreamt of. But before we get to that compelling plot, first we need to take down the sun goddess, who's possessing all the boys and men to carry out a ritual that destroys Earth. The only way to take down the sun goddess is with, say it with me, I don't know what we're supposed to... Moonstones. Duh, it's so obvious. Episode 4, it's revealed that Sarah is volunteering at a blood bank to steal blood. Oh, exactly what they stopped Erica, Rory, and the nurses from doing. It's only immoral when not Sarah does it. Got it. They also usually don't stop Erica from eating people, but at least they give her shit about it. So many people casually die in this show, and I wouldn't say it's played for laughs, but I would say it's played for, oh, this is the problem of the episode. There's a mutant crocodile. Do we care that 3 people have been murked today? No. Characters without names shall get maimed. These characters are completely desensitized to death, to the point where they will literally find human remains and think, that's awkward. But at least there's a new Phineas and Ferb episode after this. Episode 9 follows a siren, but the powerful song that this musical-powered being sings is actual butthole.
Dark.
I guess not every siren song could be as good as Embers from Danny Phantom. Episode 10 follows a Frankenstein's monster plot, not much to it. We once again see how distrustful and brutal the Vampire Council is. We learn that their school is rich enough to have a hockey team, and also their casting of Dr. Frankenstein was perfect. This guy was meant to be Dr. Frankenstein.
I made him the player that he is. Only one part missing. Well...
I'm in danger!
Plugging my husband's horror channel if you want to see more about Frankenstein and different Frankenstein iterations. In the penultimate episode of the series, we see the hippy-dippy teacher, who is as close as Disney can get to woke in the 2000s. We see him encourage his students to try cultural appropriation this Halloween.
Now, I hope that some of these native artifacts are going to inspire some culturally diverse costume choices this Halloween.
In this episode, people also turn into their costumes. Kind of like how they did in Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. Halloween Town lore next week, by the way. I'm so excited.
Your grandma was hot.
In Season 1, Episode 5, we see Granny's old-timey camera that creates evil duplicates. As always, there's an easy solution. Destroying the film destroys the evil duplicate. We hear that Grandma is at a magical convention in Episode 10, so clearly they're not really keeping their magic a secret all that much. In Episode 12, they use what looks like a Ouija board, and because Rory didn't use it properly, he accidentally summoned a demon that possessed Sarah's body, and they used the Ghostbusters Luigi's Mansion approach to defeat spirits. The funny thing is, even after they buried the vacuum cleaner with the demon inside, we see a hand rise up from the dirt, so I thought that character would return. Never did. I don't think they confirmed that the Ouija board was the grandma's, but they said it was super old, and usually that means it's the grandma's. Also, in this same episode, we learn that she's still sexually active. And they don't say it in a PG way either, they just announce it.
Where's Grandma?
She
got lucky.
Oh!
The cap.
Good for her, I love that. Kids didn't really need to know, but I did, okay? And don't worry, we hear even more about the old woman's sexcapades.
I dated a mummy once. Great kisser.
Ew, Grandma!
She slays so goddamn hard. Season 2, Episode 3, she knew about this vampire named Jacob who ran an automobile company and died crashing into a wooden fence. Very creative wooden stake imagery. Even more creative, Jacob the vampire possessed the car he built and started eating people that way. ka-chowing down on human flesh. Lightning McQueen, more like eating your spleen. Season 2, Episode 6, Grandma left behind a book called Sacred Order of the Mole. It explains why these Girl Scout cookie things called Molios are possessing all the kids to find a door in the ground. The Molios are created by Moldvarp. She's a little girl demon who does exactly what Peter Pan does. She takes kids away to play forever, robbing them of their futures. They defeat this little girl and her terrifying staff by closing the door. Ooh, they always have a great setup, and then the solution doesn't feel permanent at all. I wish they had one more season for all the villains to come back with a vengeance. Maybe they can team up for a big boss battle. I don't know, I feel like they could have stuck the landing if they had more time. To teach our main trio how to work together, in Season 2, Episode 8, Grandma threw them in separate universes with their greatest fears. Sarah's is turning into a moralless monster. Benny's greatest fear is robot dentists. AI should keep their grubby little hands off animation and my mouth. Now here's where things get interesting. Ethan's greatest fear was supposed to be being alone, but there was a villain after him. At first he thought that guy represented his fear too, until Granny delivered the bone-chilling news.
This has something to do with the darkness I feel. Trouble is coming.
Guys? I'm a little scared. In Episode 5, we see that Sarah is hanging out with Ethan so much she's starting to take on some of his habits, like snorting when she laughs. But despite this closeness, she still gives Ethan advice when he thinks another girl has a crush on him. And when she hears about this, she doesn't feel jealous at all. It gives more big sister vibes, but you'll see how it progresses. In Episode 6, when he's being bullied by this ghost coach, Ethan also receives an email that makes him think that Sarah is asking him out. And when the bully ghost shows him a bad version of the future, one of the things that Ethan hates the most is that Sarah marries someone else. This random one-off senior wrestler, if you were wondering. By the end of the episode, Sarah and Ethan watch a movie together, and the senior wrestler is on a date with Erica, who's about to bite him. It seems like the only reason Erica went on this date was to rub it in Sarah's face.
Kurt is so yummy. We went out for dinner, and then we went to go see Super Dead 4. It was perfect.
And then feast on the dude because she didn't actually like him at all. Does this mean he's dead? I wish I knew how many kills there would be. I would have counted them up. In Episode 4, Sarah also says, Erica may be self-absorbed, but she always comes through for me. I have a question for all you My Babysitters, A Vampire fans out there. When has Erica ever come through for Sarah? The more they allude to their friendship, the more it sounds like something deeper. Like, listen to this.
Well, if it isn't Super Nanny. I'm sorry about last night, and I promise we'll go dancing soon.
Episode 7 opens with a new video chat screen, no more spy shit, and Benny is trying to coach Ethan on asking out Sarah. Now here's where the episode goes to shit. Benny makes a love potion. Of course he does. But I really thought Ethan would be the voice of reason. But no, he just goes with it. The potion works on every girl in school. No boys for whatever reason. And even worse, it works on the teachers too. The only two good parts of this episode is Rory being absolutely gobsmacked at the alleged game of his friends. The game being, of course, drugging. Officers, take them away!
You do know that if you ever touch drugs, that your father and I will have to kill you.
The second best thing is when the grandma discovered they made a love potion, she joyfully watched them get jumped. She's so real for that.
Grandma, call the police!
Oops, I can't find the phone.
Sarah and Erica are rightfully furious at the end. And if this were written by me, this is where any chance of Ethan and Sarah getting together would have died. In Episode 8, Erica ditched Sarah in line for a movie for some guy. It's like she's still trying to get back at her for feeling ditched in the movie. I think that's why Erica made a big point to kiss Sarah's ex in front of her. It's as if to say, see, I don't care about you either. I'm doing what you did to me to you. Remember in Jennifer's Body when Jennifer kissed Needy's boyfriend to get her back? Same vibe. Even though they set up this closeness between Erica and Sarah that I refuse to acknowledge as just friendship, because Sarah's love for Erica is truly unconditional. Anyway, even though they set all of that up, the end of Season 2, Episode 6 implies that Erica might like Benny? Oh, hell no. Ew. Back to the main ship I wish would sink. In Season 2, Episode 7, Ethan says they're facing their worst monster yet, because this mummy is wooing Sarah. Sarah also had a crush back in Season 1 at the art museum. Whoa. Weird pattern. Museums equal flings for Sarah that last one episode.
What's he doing?
Your mom.
Her first romance ended because he was freaked out because she was too different.
Look, I just wanted a date, not a full-on action movie.
I believe the words you're looking for are thank you. She just saved you, you asshole. I mean, to be fair, she was super aggressive with him for no reason.
It's nothing. Just some sketches
Come on.
Ow, my art and my hands, fuck. And her romance with the mummy ended because he was too different. At the end of that episode, after Ethan thought he was friend-zoned, he ripped up a poem he wrote for Sarah.
Guess I don't need this poem about how your eyes shine like lightsabers.
You know what? Maybe it's for the best that she didn't read that.
Hey, wait a minute. What happened? What happens next? Come on, let's see the next episode.
That's it?
What?
It all starts with Ethan dreaming about going on a date with Sarah. Then, Ethan asks out Sarah after being interrogated by the Ghost Council and having a vision about the guy that wants to wipe out vampires. While on the date, he sends Rory and Benny to go investigate. Rory and Benny find the Lucifractor at the center of the map Ethan saw in his vision. This weapon was used to drain vampires. We find out that the one that has been trying to wipe out all the vampires is the ancestor of Jesse's enemy, who just so happens to be the new vice principal. I'm always embarrassed when reveals like this surprise me. My jaw dropped, okay? I have to admit it. Oh, dude, no wonder he brought out Sarah's anger in the season premiere. Throw him in the dumpster again! First of all, the date went to shit. It ends with both of them saying how awful it was, but neither of them meant it, so why did you say it? That romance surprisingly goes nowhere. Stern turned Ethan's mind against him, and Ethan continues to see all of his friends dead. When Benny's grandma is struck with the curse, Ethan traveled inside her mind, like Horse from Centaur World, and she gives him one last message before she died. What? Here's the thing, she's not actually supposed to be dead, she's supposed to be frozen. But this ending made it seem like everyone died except for Erica and Rory. Ethan worked past his fear and took down Stern by convincing him to absorb the energy from the Lucifractor which caused this explosion. I'm going to play you the last scene of the series. Are you ready?
Benny, come on, go!
It is done.
Nice explosion. Ethan and Benny will be sad if they miss that.
Hey, so, what the fuck was that? When I tried to look up an interpretation of this ending, I found this blog post on the My Babysitter's A Vampire wiki from 2012, and it perfectly describes my thoughts. That was the end of it, which makes me very confused and sad. They just ran off. Stern was absorbing all the power, and there was a huge explosion. I don't understand what happened, but hopefully there will be a season 3 to explain what happened, and if the show did end after only its second season, then they must have died in the explosion. So please, Jesus, let there be a season 3. See you soon, happy Halloween, and then a keep calm poster. Iconic, dare I say? This also begs the question, did Ethan see his friends as dead because that was the prophecy? Did he see Granny as headless because she lost her mind? Am I losing my mind? On the blog called All Things My Babysitter's a Vampire, executive producer Tim Burns says this about the abrupt ending. He says to the fan that wrote him a letter, "I feel your pain. As one of the executive producers and the head writer, showrunner of the series, all I could say is that we tried very hard to make a season 3, or a second movie happen. The Lucifractor storyline was my idea in the first place, and I did have some solutions in mind for how we would continue the story. I even created a few different scenarios for the second movie, but we hit nothing but problems with broadcasters, budgets, and some difficulties keeping the cast together. It's not surprising that such talented young actors want to move on to other things. All I can say is that it was just as sad for us as it was for you to see the series cut short at the season 2 cliffhanger." I can't believe they did the prototype of Wizards of Waverly Place so dirty like this. Now to talk more about My Babysitter's a Vampire, let's call an expert.
What is she talking about? Oh, fuck. Okay. If you rewatch the movie, Jesse's right-hand man, like the guy that Ethan kills with the water at the movie theater, is like way more intimidating than Jesse. And he has way more scenes and chemistry with all the cast. Jesse is not scary or intimidating. The only reason Jesse is an important character is because he dated Sarah. That main guy with the curly hair who Erica's always around is way more compelling, and we never see him again. I know he's dead, but Jesse was dead too.
Be sure to check out bhultra's video on it, and if you already have, because 1 million views, Jesus, check out his other videos. I'm a little biased, but I recommend our collab we did in person together at VidCon. It's one of my favorite videos on the internet. I think half of the views are me.
Be who you are for your pride.
In season 1, episode 2, Rory was in love with Benny in drag, and even floated into the air reading her farewell letter. The fact that Benny also left a lovey-dovey letter for him is also very gay. Ethan being jealous that Rory didn't find him pretty was also pretty gay.
What about Veronica?
She's okay.
Just okay.
And not that this has anything to do with anything, but in season 1, episode 7, Ethan's dad misunderstood a conversation he overheard and thought Ethan and Benny were in a relationship. Ethan's dad was a bit surprised, but otherwise supportive. In episode 12, Ethan's dad's allyship continues as he expressed support in his son being the president of the Justin Bieber fan club. Once again, this was a misunderstanding, but it just shows how good of a dad he is, and I wish we saw him more. Totally underutilized character, but very likable. Also, in the very last episode of the series, Rory got very in character training Ethan for his date. Hey Athena, why is this a whole section of the video? You pretty much said a whole lot of fucking nothing. I wrote this whole thing because the wiki told me his actor confirmed this, but I can't even see what he retweeted. I waited till after the finale to look at this because I was so excited because, you know, representation, woohoo! And Elon's Twitter is trying to make me pay to see Pan Rory. I think the fuck not. I'm just gonna take the wiki's word for it, and I'm just delivering this news to you. What do you guys think? So is it camp or cringe? I think it's mostly camp. I think a lot of the boys swooning over the girls and the way they go about that has aged very poorly. This is a very common thing in the 2000s, but I especially don't like this line.
What if she says no? What, are you gonna just give up?
Yeah, probably.
Wrong answer. Close the deal. Convince me.
No! Yikes. So a lot of Benny's lines were cringe, but overall, I'd say it's 90% camp, 10% cringe. But lovers, I can't think of anything scarier than a show with a cult following getting canceled for no reason. And it happens so often. It's so annoying. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to let me know in a comment below what you thought of this video, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Halloween Town lore next week. I hope to see you there. Have a great one, butt lovers. Happy Halloween. Bye!